People can die once, right? We look at death as being a one-way street at which there is no return. However, people often find ways of deceiving people. We are about to hear the case of an individual who may have been able to pull the wool over everyone's eyes. Welcome to another installment of Black Site Files from Unsolved Mysteries. My name is Jeff, aka GCurse. In this installment, we will be hearing about the case of Clarence Roberts. This case first aired on the December 14th, 1988 episode of Unsolved Mysteries. When it comes to strange cases that do not revolve around ghosts or unidentified flying objects, this case continues to stick with me over 36 years later. Not because it's scary, but because it showed me the length that people will go to try and fool the system. In this case, the system is the life insurance system. I cannot wait to get to this case. I've been actually waiting for this case for quite a while, and today is the day, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get to this case right after these commercials from the 1970s. Stay tuned.
Simoniz announces a new car wax that not only beads up the rain, but also stands up to the sun. Introducing Simoniz Shines Like the Sun, the new premium car wax that starts brighter, stays brighter than the leading premium wax. Come rain or come shine. Use Simoniz Shines Like the Sun. It starts brighter, stays brighter than the leading premium wax.
Okay, everybody, before we get to the actual case itself, I have some case information to get everybody caught up. The case name is, the person's name is Clarence Joseph Roberts. Even though the Unsolved Mysteries Wiki actually lists the case as Clarence and Geneva Roberts, this is basically Clarence's story. The mystery revolves around Clarence and how he could have been found in two fires over 10 years apart. The date of birth for Clarence Roberts was recorded as March 5th, 1918. When the fire first claimed him, he was 62 years of age. The date was November 18th, 1970. However, 10 years later, when he was 72 years old, his body was once again found in another fire on November 29th, 1980. And it's a mighty big if Clarence is still alive today, he would actually be 106 years old. The location of this mystery was Nashville, Indiana. The case classification for this case was listed as unexplained death. If you are watching this or if you are curious about seeing this case on YouTube, you can actually find it in Season 1, Episode 11 of the Robert Stack era. And if you are curious, this case originally aired on the December 14th, 1988 episode of Unsolved Mysteries. This case, oh my gosh, this case, it's always stuck with me. It's like, how could somebody who died on November 18th, 1970 in a fire, how could his body be found again 10 years later in another fire? I have a theory about that. I'll be talking about that in my final thoughts, though. So, that'll be later on. This is also the first time, this case was the very first time I learned that there can literally be names of famous cities in different states. Like, for example, this threw me off because when I originally heard this, they said Nashville, Indiana. And I'm thinking Nashville, Tennessee, right? You guys made a mistake. Nashville, Tennessee. No, not Nashville, Tennessee, ladies and gentlemen. There is actually a Nashville, Indiana. And that just threw my mind because I thought when I was younger, at this time, when this first made it to TV, I was only 7 years old. I thought that the name, like popular names, like say Kelso, Washington, where I live, I thought there was only one Kelso, Washington, period. There's actually different Kelsos around the country, around the world. I thought the same thing about Nashville. I thought Nashville was just in Tennessee. I didn't know that there could be multiple Nashvilles. Hell, when I was going to elementary school here in Kelso, funny story. My school was on a street called Elm Street. That's right, the one and only Elm Street. Little did I realize Elm Street is a pretty common name, and you can find it in a lot of locations. It's just that this case really kind of opened that door for me to learn that things are not as simple as I think. But we are going to get to this case right after these commercials, so stay tuned, and I'll be right back.
It's something to see when the Pepsi generation plays the game. One flick of the wrist, it's a whole new twist, and football's not the same. Come on, come on, come on, and taste the Pepsi way. Generation, come on, and have a Pepsi day. All across the nation, and have a Pepsi day.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. We are now at the case viewing where I go to the Unsolved Mysteries wiki, and I'm going to read to you the case. And during the time I'm reading you the case, I may stop and give you my thoughts or look up some information. So yeah, so if you're, I'm hoping you're not expecting to see a video here. If you want to see the full case video, I posted a couple links in the description below that you can check it out. So let's actually get to that right about now. Okay, so we have Clarence and Geneva Roberts. And like I said, even though Geneva is listed here, this is Clarence's story. But do not worry, we will be covering Geneva Roberts towards the end of this segment. Okay, so real names are Clarence Joseph and Geneva Faye Roberts. The case is unexplained death. Location is Nashville, I was about to say Nashville, Tennessee. It's Nashville, Indiana. The dates, respectively, are November 18th, 1971. Clarence first was supposed to have died, and November 29th, 1980, when both Clarence and Geneva were found in the second fire. Okay, case details. Now, this is a little bit of a lengthy read, so I may take a quick break to get some water and whatnot to moisten the throat, So here, let's actually fix the camera also, because I look better on the other side. So let's do this. There we go. Here we go, and I will be out of your way mostly. Let's zoom in. Okay, that looks better. I hope that looks better for you guys. Anyway, details. Nashville, Indiana. Population 700. Is located in the American heartland. It has been described as a Norman Rockwell painting come to life. Everyone knows one another, so there are a few street addresses and even fewer secrets. It is a community in the best sense of the word. Two of its most illustrious citizens were 52-year-old Clarence Roberts and his wife Geneva. But in fall 1970, the couple became embroiled in a firestorm of controversy, betrayal, and murder. Okay, so what I want to check out real quickly is the population. I love to look at these locations that are covered. Excuse me. Oh, jeez. As I was saying, I like to look at the locations that are covered in these cases and see how much they've changed over 10 to 20, even 30 plus years. So let's actually do that right now. So we're going to go to Nashville, Indiana. I already have it loaded up here. And we're going to look up the we're going to look up the information here. So let's see here. Okay, let's look at the census. Let's see, 2010 census. As of the census of 2000, there were 825 people. So basically, it grew by about how much did they say it was? Okay, so about 125 people. Which you'd think it's been 20 years and they've only gained 125 people. They must not really be advertising their community that much, In the 2010 census, it grew to 803. Wow, it only grew by 3 people. Holy cow. Ugh. Let's see here. And then let's look up here. Let's look at the current census. Okay, so historical population. So it was 825, and then wait a minute. Oh yeah, 825. Okay, and then it actually, I'm sorry, it shrank. I'm sorry, it shrank. I misread that. I'm sorry, it shrank. So they lost 22 people in 10 years. This town, it is a small town, ladies and gentlemen. However, 10 years later, it has a 56.4% increase, where they are now sitting at 1,256 people. Now, let's do a little bit of a comparison, because I can't recall how many people are in Kelso. So, Washington. Okay, so let's go to Kelso, Washington. We are currently sitting at 12,720 people. I count as 3 people because, I'm a big dude. So, yeah, so it should actually be 12,723 people. But, yeah, anyway, so. Hold on, I just want to check something out real quick. Okay. I thought I saw something about Kelso in the thing here. Okay. Okay, so let's go back to that. So basically, this is a small town, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very small town. So basically, I kind of agree with what they said when they said basically everybody knows everybody. This is one of those locations. On the night of November 18th, 1970, a fire raged out of control behind the Roberts' fashionable home. When the ashes had cooled, a body was discovered and identified as Clarence. 10 years later, on November 29th, 1980, another fire blazed. 2 more bodies were discovered. One was Geneva, and the other was again identified as Clarence. But how could a man die twice? Today, the people of Nashville still wonder what really happened to him. Detective Don Kuster of the Indiana State Police talked to both detectives and investigate. Wait, hold on. Talked to both okay. I misread this. I thought they were only saying I thought the way I read it was originally that he talked to both detectives. Like there was only 2 detectives. I'm like, I had to do a reread of that. No, but he talked to both he should be both the detectives that investigated the second blaze. It still doesn't make sense, but anyway. Based on what they told him, he believes that Clarence died in the second fire. Clarence's nephew, Bob White, believes that he died in the first fire. Clarence's sister-in-law, Alberta Roberts, believes that he is still alive. Now, I'm going to be honest, guys. I'm going to be honest. I'm just going to mark this as reference. I'm going to be honest, guys. If the guy was supposed to have died in the first fire, and somehow he lived and was, somehow he was able to, fool everybody and he's actually still alive now, What's there to say that he actually did not, fool you once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you, or whatever, What's there to say that he can still be alive? The mystery of Clarence's death still haunts those who knew him. In the 1960s, he embodied the American dream. A former sheriff and board member of the Nashville State Bank, he seemed to have it all, but something went wrong for him. His dreams became twisted into a nightmare saga that has gone on for decades and still continues today. In the 1960s, Clarence owned a prosperous hardware store along with his brother Carson. I actually like that name, Carson. That sounds like a pretty cool name. I hear the name Carson, I think of like gamblers. Anyway, he was well respected and seemed to be friends with everyone. He and Carson worked together for about 22 years. Carson recalled that he always seemed happy, enjoyed working, and was friendly and always got along with people. He was a hard worker who put a lot of hours in at the store. Bob recalled that he was very helpful and would help anyone in need. Clarence and Geneva had been married since 1941. She came from a poor family, but together they rose in Nashville society. Now, I'm going to be honest. Fame and popularity has never been my thing. I just don't like that. I prefer to actually stick kind of by myself, which is weird because I do these kind of videos. But, if you saw me in the community where I live here in Kelso, you would think I'm more like a hermit because I really don't talk to anyone. If somebody talks to me, I will say, I'll acknowledge them and respond. However, I'm just not a people person, to be honest. So, but yeah, it's just I prefer to be kind of left alone, where I can just do my stuff and be on my way, basically. With 4 sons and a successful family business, they seemed to be the perfect couple. He soon reached the 33rd degree of the Masons. Wow, 33 degrees. Hold on. I'll have to check that out. A rank commemorated by a ring, which he wore proudly. However, his appetite for the good life soon began to consume him. See, there it is. There it is. But first, I am kind of curious. How many degrees are there in the Masons? Hold on. How many degrees are there in the Masons? Okay, I'm thinking this is the same thing. They just said Masons, but this is like the Freemason. Freemasons. Let's see here. Okay. Jeez, I don't even know how to read. I don't understand this at all. It just talks about, it lists certain things, and then it says the 33 degrees. I thought it literally just, I'm just curious, how many degrees does, okay, here it just says 3 degrees. I don't understand it, but hey, the guy reached 33 degree, the 33 degree, oh wait, hold on, let's see here, oh crap, it's, 33rd degree, so that has to be that's something important, I guess, yeah. But anyway, he purchased 3 luxury cars and an expensive and fashionable home. Behind this facade of wealth were heavy debts. Alberta recalled that his personality changed greatly around this time. She described it as turning a light on and turning a light off. Let's see here. Let's mark this there. Money does shit to people. Money will do things to people that don't. And it isn't like, for a lot of people, it's not an instantaneous change. It sounds like it was with Clarence, but for others, it's more insidious. It slowly works its way into you, and it wraps around you like tentacles. It just gets you in its grasp. I like to think of people being, because I'm not sure if contaminated is the right word or if it's like consumed, but people who have this weakness to money, I guess you could really say. I view it kind of like alcoholism or drug addiction. Once you have it, once you start getting that money, it controls you. And I'll be honest, it tries to control me also. I have a very nice paying job. I love my job. It pays very nicely. It actually allows me to do all the hobbies that I have. When my mom passed away, she she left me some money. I'm not going to deny it. She left me some money, and I will always be grateful for that. She did something I was not anticipating on. She left me some money, but I don't use it. I don't use it because I feel that number one, if there's ever an emergency, I'd rather have that money. But also, I'm afraid if I start using that money, it'll lead me down a slippery slope. I'd rather just keep it off to the side and use it only as an emergency. Everything I do, I can do with the money I get from my job. But I just feel like money is too much of a temptation. You start using it, and if you're not careful, the brakes will stop working, and you're going to just lose it. You're gonna start buying fancy houses, fancy cars. You're going to buy. I think it's gonna be. It'll be revealed up here pretty quickly. You're gonna invest in property and everything. You have to be careful. You have to be careful. I have seen too many people on YouTube who reached that, that rarefied air that people like you and me don't get to breathe. They reach that air, and just because the checks start coming in, they start flowing in, they think it's going to be like this forever, and it's not. It's not going to be like this forever, and they fail. They failed to save. They failed to invest. Now, granted, I don't invest. I just keep my money off to the side. But they think the money is just going to keep coming forever. And they don't realize that the money is finite. Once it's gone, it's gone. Unless you have a surefire way, like a job or something, of being able to replenish that money. So, but yeah, I've seen too many people on YouTube who went from way up there, where a lot of people can only dream. They break through that glass ceiling, only for them to get to that point, and then they just plummet. They plummet right back down to the ground. And in some cases, people like you and me, we're actually better off than they are. Because they did not anticipate it, and they were never able to adjust. But that's just my take. That's just my take. To finance his extravagant lifestyle, Clarence sold his hardware business and gambled everything on 2 property investments, an apartment building, and several grain elevators. Now, this actually kind of shocked me because we're going to find out pretty quickly. Actually, it kind of shocked me because the investments failed. The apartment building, okay, I could possibly understand that possibly failing. Nashville is a small town. Even by what was described here, they were only 700 people. So I could understand that partially failing. The grain elevators is what really blew me because everybody needs food. You need food, your family needs food. Hell, look at me, I've been eating a lot of food. I'm shocked that grain elevators failed. I'm shocked that they failed. But this, once again, this kind of goes to show that he let the high life basically get a hold of him. If I wanted to right now, I could literally take everything I've made by myself at my job, my entire savings, plus the money my mom left me, and I could get a real nice house and possibly 2 or 3 cars. But I don't. Because I understand that sooner or later, something could happen. But yeah, so, the investments failed. He also submitted altered and or fictitious bills to an insurance company. Now, this was not in the case, so this is actually something new. Okay, hold on. He also submitted altered and or fictitious bills to an insurance company regarding the apartment. By fall 1970, he knew that he was in serious trouble. In October, 1 month before the first fire, Sheriff Warren Roberts, Clarence's own brother, repossessed 2 of his vehicles. Oh my God! Can you imagine how embarrassing that is? Not only are you having problems, but your own family, your own blood, your brother, he had to come and take some of your stuff. Oh, I'd hate to be sitting at that table at Thanksgiving, I tell you that. Clarence and Geneva were left desolate and desperate. Bob recalled that Clarence had become depressed and possibly suicidal around this time. Hold on, let me scroll up. At 6:20 p.m. on the night of November 18th, 1970, firemen arrived to find the garage barn of the Roberts home ablaze. The heat was so intense, they stood helplessly by as the structure burned to the ground. When the fire had cooled, they made a grisly discovery. A body, burned beyond recognition, laid beneath the rubble. A half-melted shotgun was by its side. The body was so badly burned, it was difficult to identify as human. Okay. I'm really kind of curious. I don't think I'll be able to find it. I'm like, what's the... Let's see here. Let's see. What metal is made for shotgun? What metal is... Okay, what are shotguns made of? Let's see here. The gun zone. Because I'm curious, like, what is the melting point for the metal of a shotgun? Yeah, because I'm pretty sure, like, the wooden parts of the shotgun, like the, like the grip and the stock, I'm pretty sure those are wood, so they'd burn. But I'm curious, like, what is it? Yeah, okay, well, hold on. What metal is commonly used for shotgun barrels? Most shotgun barrels are made of steel, which provides necessary strength and durability for withstanding high pressure generated by shotgun shells. Okay, so let's do this. What is the melting point of steel? Okay, steel melts between 1300 and 1540 degrees Celsius, or 2370 to 2800 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, I'm not sure if things have changed, but this is just like a preliminary number, I guess you could really say, you know. But that takes a lot of heat to basically melt shotgun. Okay. Jack Bond, the county coroner, feared that Clarence had finally paid his debts by taking his own life. When the body was found, Jack assumed that he had shot himself. He figured that he had too many worries in his life, so he decided to commit suicide. When they arrived at the funeral home, they started looking for gunshot wounds. They were surprised not to find any. The police wondered how Clarence's suicide could have been accomplished without a gunshot wound. An autopsy later determined the cause of death was carbon monoxide poisoning, which occurred prior to the fire. So basically, he was dead before the fire, and his body was then placed in the barn, and the barn was set on fire. Now a lot of the stuff we're hearing, I do not recall it being in the actual video. So this, that's the one thing I dislike about Unsolved Mysteries. Unsolved Mysteries is a great show, don't get me wrong, but there are times that they will actually leave out information like what we just read here, possibly. Okay. Detective Detective Don Kushner sifted through the debris. Hidden in the ashes, he found Clarence's Masonic ring. Despite the intense heat, it was virtually undamaged. It was still in excellent shape and did not appear to have been melted. He did not believe that the ring could have withstood the heat of the fire without having any damage to it. He believed that it was planted. I agree. This was only the first of a series of unusual discoveries. Okay, hold on. Let's mark this. We'll go down to here. Okay, now once again, time to do some investigation, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm going to check out two different types of metal. Let's look at gold and bronze. So, what is the melting point of bronze? Or brass. Sorry, brass. I meant to say brass. Between 900 Celsius and 1940 Celsius, which is 1,652 Fahrenheit and 1,724 Fahrenheit. So if that ring was brass, it should have been melted. There should have been damage. It should have been a little puddle. Okay, let's do gold. Okay, gold's melting threshold is 1,064.18 degrees Celsius, which is equal to 1,947.52 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, let's see here. What is the norm? Let's see here. What metal are rings made of? Gold, silver, and platinum. Okay, so let's do what is the melting point of silver? Silver, the melting point looks like it is 1,763.2 degrees Fahrenheit. And platinum? See here, 1,768.3 degrees Celsius, which is equal to 3,214.9 degrees Fahrenheit. However, that ring did not look like it was platinum. It looked like it was. If you watch the video, you'll see it's either brass or gold. So the only way I would say that it was not melted at all was if that ring was actually platinum. I don't think it was platinum. The ring was platinum. I think it was either brass or gold. So the fact is that the gold and brass, the melting points are significantly lower. So I believe that that ring was placed there as just as like a plant. Investigators learned that only months before the fire, Clarence had purchased several insurance policies on his life, totaling close to $1 million. The policies named Genevieve as the beneficiary. He also told a friend that he had more than $100,000 in a Swiss bank account. He even showed a friend his card for the account. In addition, a test showed that the body found in the blaze had type AB blood. Clarence's blood type was type B. Based on records from the U.S. Army, if it was not the body of Clarence, then who died in the fire? And this goes back to what I kind of said in the very beginning of this episode, basically. Hold on. Okay. This kind of goes to what I said in the beginning of this episode. People will try and fool the system. there's times that people will get away, and there are times that they will not. It seems like for a brief period of time, it seems like Clarence did actually get away with fooling the system, but he did not know when to give it up. Yeah. Okay, so on November 17th, 2 days before the blaze, Clarence was spotted at a bar in the nearby community of Morgantown, also in Brown County. He was befriending a vagrant. The man was described as about 5'7" to 5'9", and was about the same age as Clarence. The two were together, but Clarence apparently did not know his name. He told the man that he had some odd jobs at his house that needed to be done. The man agreed to go with him. As they were leaving, the man collapsed from some unknown cause. Clarence said that he would take the man to the hospital. Detective Kushner, I can't really pronounce that name that well. Detective Kushner later checked all the hospitals within a 300-mile radius. And found that the man had not been admitted to any of them. Okay, so hold on, let's see here. We have two people. We have Clarence and a stranger. The stranger was having some sort of medical condition. Clarence said that he was going to take that person to the hospital. And apparently the person was never admitted. It's pretty evident that Clarence probably most likely took the individual back to his home. If this is the case, then Geneva, she basically kind of... I have a feeling that Geneva knew what Clarence was doing, yeah. But that's just my theory. Two theories divided Nashville. One was that Clarence had killed himself, and another that he murdered the vagrant in order to collect the insurance money. It is even claimed that he watched from the woods as the flames destroy the evidence of his crime. Bob believes that Clarence was suicidal. However, he does not believe that he was homicidal. Alberta, on the other hand, believes that he was definitely capable of murder. Money will make people do a lot of dangerous things. How many times have we seen on the news where people who once had money ended up losing their money only for them to go and commit a crime, like say robbery, or they will do a holdup or something? It's not outside the realm of the possibility that we have somebody like Clarence who sound like he was enjoying the nice life. Nice house, 3 cars, grain silos, apartments, He was used to living a certain lifestyle. That was taken away from him. What did he try to do? He tried, it sounds like he tried insurance fraud when it came to the apartment, when it came to posting like insurance notes or whatever the said it was in the beginning of this. People will do things in order to regain what it is that they feel that they were robbed of, basically. Clarence felt that he was robbed of his things when his brother had to come and repossess 2 vehicles. I think it's possible that Clarence, in his mind, he thought that this was something that he could pull off. The sad thing is, he failed to realize that his brother his brother, not only was his brother a sheriff, but there's the sheriffs, which is like, really, how could he not realize that he has all these things around him, that they would figure out his plan, basically. In the comment section, ladies and gentlemen, do you think Clarence killed the vagrant? Do you think that Clarence actually died in that first fire? And if he did die, how did he get in the second fire? And I'm actually going to talk about that, like I said, in the final thoughts. Okay. Clarence was either dead or missing as a result. Geneva was left alone. Her fortune changed dramatically from riches back to rags. She was forced to move to an old home on Roberts' family property on the outskirts of town. Her claims to the insurance money were repeatedly denied. She also tried to have Clarence declared dead. However, the judge denied the request, citing insufficient evidence. He was not alone in maintaining that Clarence had died in the first fire. Dr. John Pless, a prominent pathologist, agreed with her. In 1978, attorneys came to him to review the reports of the experts that had determined that had examined the evidence. Through the process, he proved to himself and several others that the body found in the garage belonged to Clarence. At which point it's like, okay, if that was Clarence, who's the second guy then? Who's the guy in the second fire? We know one was Geneva. What? Who? We still have a question mark over here. We have 3 dead bodies. Boom, boom, boom. If they're right, first body's Clarence, third body's Geneva. Who's the second body here? You know, it's like dead bodies just don't miraculously fall out the fucking air. You know, they just don't go boom, unless if it's from an airplane. But you know what I'm trying to say? Bodies just do not appear. There has to be a logical reason why this second unknown, possibly unknown body was in the second fire. And if that second body in the second fire was Clarence, then who the fuck was it in the first fire? But like I said, I'm going to talk about that in the final thoughts. So, Dr. Pless testified at the civil trial against the insurance companies that he felt it was highly probable that the body was Clarence's. Despite his testimony, Geneva lost all of her appeals. Dr. Pless felt that those on Geneva's side were decimated emotionally by the judge's ruling. Dr. Pless could not understand why the judge had made the ruling. The denials took their toll on Geneva. Withdrawing from her friends and neighbors, she became the subject of local gossip. See, that does not bother me. Hold on to me. That does not bother me, ladies and gentlemen. People gossiping about me. I'm a loner. The only time I'm not a loner is when I'm at work. And, you know, it's because it's my job. It's my job to interact with people. But when that clock, when the clock is done, you know, says it's time that I'm done for the day, I enter loner mode. I do everything by myself. I keep to myself. So if there's gossip about me, let them gossip. Let them gossip, yeah. Okay. In order to make ends meet, Geneva had to take a job in the kitchen of a local Howard Johnson's restaurant. Ooh, Howard Johnson's. Are they even still in business? Hold on, I'm actually kind of curious. Johnson Restaurants. Okay, so apparently they're all closed down. Howard Johnson is apparently they closed down. Apparently the last one closed in June of 2022. Okay, see here. Then the rumors began. Local shopkeepers said that they sold her large quantities of beer. This was surprising considering she was diabetic and seldom drank beer. Some said she was not alone, and neighbors began to report seeing someone on the grounds of her home. Detective Dave Anderson developed information that a man had been seen behind her residence. The man acted very strangely and never let anyone get close to him. He would always duck away from them and head back toward the home immediately. Well, I hate to say, it sounds like that could have been Clarence. Unless they're, just really a massive recluse, and like a Jason Voorhees, basically, yeah. Okay. Detective Anderson and several other officers set up surveillance of the home. They were there for approximately 3 days and nights. They photographed everyone who came and went in and around the home. However, they never saw the man. Despite this, they believed that the man was Clarence. They speculated that he had run out of places to go and decided to come back to stay with Geneva. A local reporter, Helen Ayers, or Ayers, how you want to pronounce her name, had grown friendly with Geneva. Helen felt that she was hiding something or someone. Helen visited the home on 4 different occasions. Geneva always met her on the back porch and never invited her inside. This was especially strange because it was a common courtesy in Nashville to invite people inside when they came to visit. Helen suspected that a man was living there with her. Helen interviewed Clarence's sister, who lived in the adjacent yard. She said that she could hear Geneva talking to a man. Surprisingly, she said that it was not Clarence's voice. Nobody knows for certain what Geneva was trying to hide or whom. Her reclusive life went on uneventful until the night of November 29th, 1980, when her house caught fire. Detective Anderson arrived at the scene soon after. What has me kind of scratching my head is they were on an adjacent property. Unless Geneva was literally just screaming at the top of her lungs talking to this guy. I find it kind of hard to believe that somebody on an adjacent property could hear somebody talking like that. But that's just me. I live in a city, so who knows? Maybe if you live out in a more sparsely populated area, if somebody's talking in a normal voice, maybe you could possibly hear them. But for me, I just find it a little bit hard. But I'm not saying she didn't hear them. I just find it a little bit hard, to believe, basically. The fire was still burning very intensely at the time, or at that time, sorry. After the fire was extinguished, he stayed behind, curious as to what would be found. The house had been totally demolished. Sifting through the ashes, searchers found Geneva's body. They removed it and sent it to the funeral home. Hours later, they made another shocking discovery: a second body in another part of the house. When Dr. Pless reviewed the chest x-ray of the body, he immediately recognized it as belonging to Clarence. Uh-oh, somebody has some explaining to do. Because if I remember correctly in the video, I think this is the person that testified that they were sure that the first body was Clarence. Now you have a second body, and this second body has the same indicators of it being Clarence. Oh my god. The body was soon positively identified as his. Dr. Pless and detectives had the difficult task of telling everyone that Clarence was dead for a second time. Oh shit. I hate to say. Hold on, I'm trying. Come on. Can I do it this way? Wait. Okay. I'm guessing it's just gonna be me. I'm guessing when it comes to re-election time for like county coroner and sheriffs and all that, I'm guessing that upcoming election is going to be a little bit difficult for those people to keep their positions. Vote for me. Vote for Jeff. I know who's dead. That guy over there, he doesn't know who's dead. Oh, the county coroner? Oh, you don't want to vote for him. He misidentifies people as dead. Vote for me, Jeff Miller. I have the proof. Oh, God, I'd hate to see what that election cycle is going to be like. Hold on one second. Let's see here. I just got to mute my mic so I can blow my nose. Hold on one second. Okay, the second fire was a clear-cut case of arson. Detectives could clearly follow the burn patterns from Geneva's bed into the adjacent room where Clarence's body was located, and then down the hallway and out the back door of the house. Based on the evidence, they determined that Geneva had been murdered. They are certain that turpentine was used to ignite the fire. However, they do not know who started it, Clarence or a third party. Detective Anderson believes that a third party was responsible. Ah, crap. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Let's see here. Investigators had no clue as to who set the second fire, but they believe that they identified the victim. Detective Anderson is convinced that the second victim in the second fire was Clarence. Are we sure? Are we sure that's Clarence? Dr. Pless is also convinced that based on the medical evidence, he now believes that the vagrant died in the first fire. Bob, however, does not believe that the victim in the second fire was Clarence. He and Carson believe that the victim was the unknown man that had been seen at Geneva's house. Well, that's a possibility. Hold on. Okay, yeah. Today in Greenlawn Cemetery, the mystery of Clarence Roberts lies buried, still defying explanation after decades. Who was the man in the first fire? Who set the second fire, and why? Who was the mysterious figure seen at Geneva's house, and why did she hide his identity? And the key question, where is Clarence? Is he in the grave of the 1980 victim? Some family members are doubtful, and they protested when a headstone with his name was put in place. Whoever it is that rests beneath the Midwestern earth, will never tell his tale. Suspects. Regarding the first fire, it was believed, Jesus Christ, Jeff. Anyway, it was believed that Clarence either committed suicide or killed a vagrant and set him on fire in the garage barn. He had been seen with a vagrant in another town shortly before the fire. His Masonic ring, found in the ashes of the garage, did not appear to have been damaged by the fire. Furthermore, blood tests indicate that the body had type AB blood, while Clarence had type B. Other evidence indicated that Clarence was not the one killed in the first fire. A tooth discovered near the body was identified as a lower right second molar. Clarence's lower right second molar had been removed several years prior to the fire. His cousin Charles reported seeing him less than half an hour prior to the fire. He was wearing a solid blue shirt at the time. The body was later found with a brown plaid shirt. How could he still be wearing a shirt? You would think that everything was burned. If you couldn't tell that the body was human or not, how can you tell what shirt the person had on? You would think that if the body was that burned, that the clothing should have been incinerated. Witnesses reported that the vagrant was wearing a brown plaid shirt. Witnesses also said they saw Clarence and the man together on 2 occasions before the fire and the day of the fire. An autopsy determined the first victim died of carbon monoxide prior to the start of the fire. The bank later repossessed Clarence's truck. They discovered holes in the exhaust system, apparently made by a hammer or a similar instrument. Evidence also indicated that Clarence was still alive following the first fire. Several witnesses reported seeing a mysterious man at Geneva's home throughout the 1970s. Insurance investigator William Mitchell received reports of Clarence living in New Mexico. Mexico. Oh, sorry. In New Mexico, and West Germany. Robert Hillenberg, a former Nashville resident who moved to New Mexico, reported seeing him at Las Palmas, Mexico in 1975. Other acquaintances reported seeing him in various locations in 1972, 74, and 75. Why is it everybody else can see this motherfucker, but the people who are trying to find him cannot? It's like we think it was Clarence. Oh, you mean Clarence? I just saw him in Las Palmas. I saw him in New Mexico. He's over there in Germany. He's actually filming a movie in Germany right now. Why is it everybody who is trying to find this guy cannot find the guy, but the people that the local residents are just bumping into him? They're just bumping into the guy. Ugh. Sorry. Regarding the second fire, there are several possible theories. One is that Clarence murdered Geneva, an unknown man, before setting the house on fire and fleeing. Another theory is that Clarence and Geneva committed suicide together so that their children could cash in on their life insurance. Yet another theory is that Clarence killed Geneva and then committed suicide or died accidentally. One final theory is that Clarence and Geneva were killed by an unknown third party. Investigators looked into the possibility that Clarence had helped either with his apparent murderous schemes or while he was on the run. However, in 1983, Brown County grand jury declined to charge anyone with helping him. Extra notes. The original air date of the segment is December 14th, 1988. The segment mistakenly states that the second fire occurred on November 18th, 1980. The judge shown in the segment was an actual Brown County magistrate who adjudicated the lawsuit between the insurance company and the real Geneva Roberts. He reprised his ruling in the reenacted court case, telling the actress playing Geneva Roberts that she had lost her case and recommended appellate action. And you can, like I said, you can see all this. I'm posting the link to the to both the My Unsolved Mysteries commentary of this case, along with the Unsolved Mysteries case on YouTube, so you can find all this information in the description below. Results. Unresolved. Authorities are certain that the second body in the second fire belonged to Clarence. Are we sure about that? Well, apparently people are seeing him in Germany, in Mexico, in New Mexico. He may be your fucking neighbor right now. This guy seems to be around everywhere. X-rays and dental records from Clarence match the body. in regards to the 1980 fire, a grand jury determined that Geneva was either murdered or passed out from alcohol consumption or a diabetic coma, and that Clarence died accidentally while setting the fire. I find it hard to believe that somebody who was in the army, that he would just be that stupid with fire. I don't see him dying like that. Like, with fire. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Like, I don't see it like that happening. But anyway. And that Clarence died accidentally while setting the fire. They believed that he passed out from either the alcohol consumption or from the fire's fumes. His blood alcohol level was 0.2, while hers was 0.3. Authorities are also certain that Clarence was responsible for the murder of the first victim. In fact, grand jury indicted him for kidnapping and murder in 1975. Oh God, hold on. Okay, we're going to indict this guy. Okay, who are we indicting? For records. Clarence Joseph Roberts. Okay, writing it down. Okay, why are we indicting this guy? Murder. Okay, that's a strong accusation, counsel. Where is Mr. Roberts? We would like to question him. Well, you see, sir, Clarence is dead. He's dead. Yeah. He's dead. He's in the ground. Well, how do you mean? Like, how can we indict somebody if they're dead? Like, we think he killed a vagrant. Oh my God. Are we sure the guy's just not a vampire? Are we sure that Clarence Roberts is not like a vampire? Anyway. However, the victim's identity remains a mystery. Authorities looked into the possibility that the first victim was 38 years old. Was a 38-year-old drifter from Kentucky named James Woodrow Hatcher, who vanished in 1968. However, X-rays of James's body were not matched to the victim. Why not? Okay, so I actually got some of the stuff that I want to talk about posted or already. Oh, Jesus Christ, hiccups. I got some of the stuff already loaded up. So we are at the find the grave of one Mr. Clarence Joseph Roberts. Date of birth was March 5th, or the 5th of March, 1918, Brown County, Indiana, USA. Now, even though we have him dying two specific times, 1970, 1980, they actually have him posted as dying in 1980 at the age of 62. The location was Nashville, Brown County, Indiana, USA. He is currently buried, if it is him, he is currently buried in Green Lawn Cemetery, Nashville, Brown County, Indiana, USA. Okay, here are some pictures. We have him. It looks like this could have been an armed service picture. Here's his final resting place. You may want to get some holy water just in case the guy is a vampire. Here he is. I'm guessing this could have been like, they said he was like a member of the city council, possibly, or some sort of, like I think they said city council. I can't recall. Here's another image of his resting place. And then here we have Clarence and Geneva Roberts. And then for his, it says the inscription on the tombstone, or whatever you want to call it. Private First Class U.S. Army, World War II. Here are the family members. So for his parents, he had Joseph Roberts, 1879 to 1959. I love looking at some of these cases, because some of the people who, like the parents that I profile here, like this guy, he was born before 1900. How weird is that? Nowadays you can't find anybody who was born, like, say, before 1950. Here's literally somebody who was born before 1900, ladies and gentlemen. 1879 to 1959. Frances Josephine Hardin Roberts, 1890 to 1971. And then he had a few siblings. Vernon Roberts, 1910 to 1910. Wow. So, poor guy. Dolly Hazel Roberts Banks, 1911 to 1982. Wow, she died 1 year, roughly, after I was born. James Holland Roberts, 1914 to 19. Wow. Holy cow. Look at Gail Roberts, 19. A lot of stillbirths. What the hell? Out of 6 children, looks like 4 of the children could have been stillbirths. Carson Roberts, 1923 to 2015. So if I remember correctly, I think it was Carson that ended up having to repossess the vehicles. And then Warren Roberts, 1920. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it said 1925. I'm like, wait, what? So it was 3 out of the 6. Warren Roberts, 1925 to 1975. That was my fault. I apologize for that. We have some half siblings. We have Golda Edith Goldie Roberts Dunn, 1899 to 1973. Ora Melvin Roberts Sr., 1901 to 1976. Basil Earl Roberts from 1903 to 1972. And George Raymond Roberts, 1904 to 1988. We also have William Elmer Roberts from 1906 to 1941. It's very disconcerting when you see a list of these people, and with the exception of, like, say, George Raymond Roberts, Carson Roberts, and Dolly Hazel Roberts, all the people so far that I've named here were dead before I was even born. We have a couple spouses. We have Velma Sykes Henry from 1921 to 1997. Okay, so this person was alive after I was born. She married Clarence in 1937. And then we had Geneva Faye White Roberts from 1921 to 1980, married Clarence in 1941. And then he had a child, Bernard Lee Bernie Roberts, from 1941 to 2011. Everybody here is literally dead. Like his whole family is dead. Holy shit. Okay, then we have Geneva Faye White Roberts. She was born January 23rd, 1921 in Nashville, Brown County, Indiana, USA. Date of death was November 29th, 1980. She was 59 years of age. Same location as birth. She is actually buried in David Cemetery in Boone County, Indiana, USA. Okay, let's take a look at the pictures here. Okay, here's a picture of Geneva. She looks not that happy. This picture could have been like when she was attempting to get the judgment for the life insurance, possibly. Here's a picture possibly of her and Clarence. Here is her resting place. Another picture. Okay, that was the last picture. Let's see here. Okay, and then she has Okay, I'm going to take a quick break. I will be right back. Okay, so when it comes to the family of Geneva Roberts, for her parents, we had James Milton White, 1876 to 1957. Her mother was Laura K. David White, 1878 to 1964. She had a couple, she had multiple siblings. Olive Esther White Ains from 1898 to 1993. William Brian Jack White, 1900 to 1948. Aretta Glenn White from 1903 to 1974. Laura Jeanette White Pauley, 1905 to 1992. James Keith Dick White, I'm sorry. 1907 to 1987. Thomas Daniel White, 1909 to 2001. Helen May White Smith, 1915 to 1988. And then she had only one spouse, which was Clarence Joseph Roberts from 1918 to 1980. They married in 1941. And then they had one child, Bernard Lee Bernie Roberts, which I mentioned already, at 1941 to 2011. This is a very interesting case, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very interesting case. Layers on top of layers of mystery on top of a mystery. It's literally like an onion, ladies and gentlemen. You think you got you think you got it all done. You just realize you just pulled off another layer, and you're like, oh shit, another layer. You know, like that's what it's like with this case. And when I return with my final thoughts, I'm going to give you my thought about all this. So stay tuned, and I'll be right back after these commercials.
When you shoot a lot of pool and bars, you want to stay fast and loose, and you don't want to get filled up. That's why I drink light beer from Miller. Got a third less calories than their regular beer, and it's less filling. Plus, the taste is great. And even though a lot of people don't think pool is strenuous, let me tell you something. You can work up a real good thirst, even when you're just showing off.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the portion of the show where I give you my final thoughts. And this case, holy cow. This case has it all. We have murder, we have suicides possibly, we have a body appearing multiple times, we have fraud, we have fame, we have infamy, or however you want to pronounce it. This case literally had it all, and I'm shocked. I'm literally shocked. So, but yeah, I've been kind of talking about my thought. I said I have a theory, and here's my theory. It's out there. It's out there, but I mean, when literally we have the same person appearing, dead in two different fires. All sometimes out there could be your best, could be your best explanation. My thoughts. Here are my thoughts. I don't think honestly that there was a vagrant. I'm not sure. I'm not there, but I don't think there was a vagrant. I think Clarence committed suicide with the hopes that Geneva, that she would get the life insurance. That's what I think. Now here's where it takes a turn for the dark. What if Geneva managed to somehow unbury or dig up Clarence's corpse. And that she was basically, living with his corpse in the house. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going with the possible psycho theory. What if she was actually talking to her perceived idea of Clarence, but Clarence was already dead? That's just my theory. That's my theory, though. And the person that they saw possibly walking around the house, around the property, it could have been Geneva just cross-dressing. I know this sounds fucking out there, but I mean, we already have a body that was reported in one fire, and then again in a second fire. What if somehow Geneva, under this delirious, this split personality or whatever you want to call it, she was the one that actually killed herself in the second fire. But she was doing it from the perspective of Clarence. That's just my theory, though. That's what I like about doing this project. It's just, I can give you my theory. If you agree with it, cool. If you don't, that's okay also. But what do you guys think? Do you think that Clarence, do you think he survived the first fire? Do you think he killed the vagrant? Do you think he died in the first fire? If he did die in the first fire, how did he get to the second fire? If he died in the first fire, like all these, there are all these questions, ladies and gentlemen. There are all these questions. And with it being over 30 years, almost 40. Well, actually, it's over 40 now. It'll be almost 50 pretty soon. Anyway. With all these questions, we're never going to get answers. So all that's really left of us to do is just to kind of theorize about what it could be, But anyway, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Before I head out, though, this case reminds me of another case. Not like people dying in fires. This case is unique. It gives off the eerie vibes. This case reminds me of another eerie case, and I'm going to show that right now. So hold on, let's do this. There we go. Hold on. Here, let's actually move my camera. There we go. Okay. Let's move this back over here. There was a case. I cannot recall what the name of it was. There was a case on Unsolved Mysteries quite a while ago where a woman fed her husband dog food. You're right. You did not mishear me, ladies and gentlemen. A lady fed her husband dog food. So let's see here. Fed dog food, Unsolved Mysteries. I can't recall what the name of the... Hugh Harlan. That's what it was. Hugh Harlan and his wife, Diane Harlan. But let's go to the Unsolved Mysteries wiki. Basically, I get the same kind of eerie feeling. The eerie vibes, basically, when it comes to this case and the case of Clarence Roberts. Basically, Hugh's wife died, whereas it's the other way around. Whereas Clarence's wife died after Clarence. In this case, Hugh Harlan's wife, Diane. Let's see here, Liz. Diane. Hugh's wife, Diane, actually died before Hugh. Now, here's the catch. Here's the catch. After Diane died, Hugh was initially investigated for her death, but nothing ever came of it. A while after everything started to die down, Hugh disappeared, never to have been seen again. Now, I'm not sure when this case will be up. I'm not sure when I'll come across this case. I think it's going to be quite a ways later, But anyway, the case of the Clarence Roberts and Clarence and Geneva Roberts. It reminds me so much of the case of Hugh and Diane Harlan, just because it was it has that weirdness to it, But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is it. I hope you have enjoyed this latest installment of Black Site Files from Unsolved Mysteries. It was actually a pleasure to cover this case for everyone. Like I said, this case will always stick with me because of the fact we don't have any real answers. And granted, I kind of went off a little bit thinking that the guy could be a vampire or maybe the psycho angle. But I mean, when you really don't have any answers, all that's left is for you to just kind of sit here, think about what it was that we just experienced, But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go and get this all ready to upload. As always, if you like what you watch, which I hope that you did, feel free to click that like button. If you're on YouTube, click that like button, click the subscribe and the bell. You'll be alerted when I release new content. If you're watching on Facebook, feel free to click that like button and you'll be alerted when I release new content. Until next time, my name is Jeff, aka GCurse. Wishing you all a great day. Happy holidays, everybody. Peace out.
You are looking at a very special place, the Bell Systems Network Operations Center in Bedminster, New Jersey. Here's where we watch the flow of nearly 40 million long-distance calls a day. If a bottleneck does develop, computer technology helps us reroute the traffic and get your call through.
Take your St. Louis traffic via Sacramento.
The Network Operations Center, helping to get your long-distance calls through quickly and easily.
The Bell System, keeping your communication system the best in the world.